leave that positive, impactful legacy on your family and loved ones, September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. And while life insurance is not the only tool to help leave a legacy, it does generate the conversation of the legacy that we want to leave behind and how we are planning specifically to achieve and accomplish those goals. We'll talk about it today on Financial Focus with John Kuykendall. So welcome into the program. This is Financial Focus, brought to you by the best of the best in financial services, 11 straight years and running, as named and nominated by the readers of the Lake City Reporter. So we always appreciate the insight, the guidance, the perspective from founder and CEO John Kuykendall here with us, helping us stay financially focused. And John, with Life Insurance Awareness Month in September, the conversation turns to life insurance, but the fact that life insurance is really a tool to leave behind something positive for our loved ones.
Yeah, it is, Peter. I mean, I was just thinking as you were talking, we just had a situation where a husband passed away, left a life insurance policy to his wife. That life insurance policy was able to purchase an annuity that will give her a lifetime income to make up for what she will have missed with the money that she lost from his Social Security. So, it's a way that we can leave a legacy and leave our family in great shape, and it's tax free.
Yep. Well, millions of Americans, industry studies show, John, are underinsured or uninsured completely. Nearly half of U.S. households say they would face financial hardship within 6 months if the primary wage earner passes away. And that extends into and throughout retirement as well, where a household depends on two Social Securities, like your recent example there. So we want to talk about how to set things up. And I think that we also need to discuss specifically for retirees how the impacts of decisions made in your early to mid 60s might ultimately have their consequences much later in life, decades later, and how we need to think these things through with some foresight.
Well, Peter, in the old days when I started selling insurance right after I got out of college, we talked about death benefit. We talked about buying life insurance, and when you died, we'd be able to bury you. And back then, a large policy was $5,000. I mean, that was how long ago I started this. And so, today we talk about hundreds of thousands of dollars of insurance, but the new insurance, the new life insurance, isn't just for death. I used to have a pie chart on my desk, and it said, you take off and break off one part, and it was for death. Another part was for living benefit, because I can take and borrow against my policy and get an income that I don't have to pay taxes on, that will supplement my Social Security, supplement the money that I'm short with my pensions and all. And also, I can get that terminal critical illness rider now, where in the event that I have a long-term care event, they're going to give me 80% of the policy up front, and I'm going to be able to use that for my care. It's a wonderful tool, but when you hear life insurance, Peter, for some reason your ears go deaf.
Yeah. Well, John, we need our will and our legal documents.
Yep.
We need our beneficiaries correctly designated on our accounts. And then we need some of these financial protections, these leverage vehicles through insurance that you're talking about, both for our lifetime, for the catastrophic events that might happen, the need for healthcare events, and then ultimately to refill and replenish the bucket for our spouse or our family and loved ones.
Well, that's right, Peter. But don't forget now, when we pass these assets on, in most cases now, especially with the new Secure Act, there are going to be taxes that are going to be incurred. So we could be passing along a tax burden, which the life insurance will help cover, because, like I said, the death benefit is tax free.
You mentioned taxes, the IRS, and those healthcare events, John.
Yes,
We've heard a lot about this phenomenon of the great wealth transfer. This is some estimated 70 to 90 trillion dollars that over the next decade or two is expected to change generational hands. I guess my question and concern here is that with the lack of proper planning, with the stats that many Americans have not put together that plan or would even face financial hardship, how much of those assets are going to end up transferring to the nursing homes and to the IRS because of improper or incomplete planning? And even within just the category of life insurance, John, there are several different types, and there's a reason and rhyme and time and place for each one of those different types.
that's right, Peter. I mean, we got term insurance. We buy that when we're young. We have a lot of debt because it's cheap. We can buy a lot of it for a little bit of money, but 90% of it never pays. And that's the reason it's cheap. And then we have what we call whole life or indexed universal life or fixed index life insurance, which is more of a whole life type product. And that is more permanent insurance that's going to build cash value, and we'll be able to use that cash value later. You know, Ray Kroc and Walt Disney used their life insurance cash value to expand their businesses. We wouldn't have had Disney World or McDonald's today where they are without life insurance.
Now, not everybody wants to leave a huge amount of wealth behind for others, but the reality is, John, if we've got a plan that provides for our own lifetime security, then more likely than not, we are going to leave something behind. Why not leave it in the most efficient and effective manner possible? Certain tools are better than others to be left behind.
Well, that's true, Peter. And you know, I read the other day that the generation prior to the boomers was the generation that had the fixed income. They had the pensions. They had great retirements because they had those permanent checks coming in every month. But the boomers have generated more wealth than any generation ever. We have more assets, more things at our disposal because of the internet and the way the markets change. We've been able to invest money and make money on our money. So therefore, those millions of dollars are going to be transferring, and we're going to be transferring wealth, which like I said, with the Secure Act, is going to create tax problems for the next generation because they've got 10 years to pull that out.
A lot of these dollars that we're talking about, John, are obviously in retirement accounts. They are tax deferred dollars. So it's not the
Right.
estate tax we're talking about, that
No,
these dollars have not even had income tax assessed
no.
to them yet.
No, we're talking about income tax dollars. We were taught to defer money in a 401k or an IRA, build those up, and that money, we would be in a lower tax bracket when we retired than we were at the time, which wasn't really true now we found out because we've never been able to lower our tax brackets. And so because of the way this money's shifting and now because of the Secure Act, we are going to be leaving a financial burden because that money has to come out in 10 years. Plus, we've got our heirs that are still earning money. They've got their own problems because they've got, you know, they'll be on Medicare at that point in time. And they've got their, you know, the IRMA, which is the Medicare Part B increases. They've got all the things that we're faced with now they're going to be facing with, and they've got to pay the taxes on that money. And we can leave it to them we can leave them an asset tax free that will help pay for those taxes.
Well, John, I know that people have often shied away from the traditional long-term care insurance because it was expensive, it was use it or lose it, the premiums could be increased or the benefit decreased into the future, and it has been often. Yet I'm hearing from you that it sounds like there is still a time and a place and a reason for insurance even throughout retirement.
Well, that's right, Peter. I mean, we've got a couple that we sold $150,000 life insurance policy to each spouse. Now, the idea was that if one spouse passed away, the 150,000 went to the other spouse, and that would make up for the 40% that loss in income that we're going to have when one spouse dies. On the other hand, it also has a chronic critical illness rider with it, so that we can use that 150,000 for long-term care, for at-home care, whatever we need it for in that category, so that we don't crash the plan for the other person. That was the way we sold it. You're never too late to get life insurance. We can write life insurance because of the actuarial ages now. They have the insurance up into your 70s, and it's still cheap enough you can afford it. So it's amazing to me that we don't have more people taking advantage of it, since it's such a great estate planning tool. But it's kind of like we used to say about annuities. They had that stigma that there was fees, cost, you lose your money, you weren't going to get back what you put into it. And that's not true. And with life insurance, like I said, it has more than one benefit. It has a lot of benefits, and we can pass that legacy on. Legacy, as you said earlier, is more than about estate planning documents, wills, taxes, wills, a power of attorneys, health surrogate forms. It's about how we leave our families. Are they going to remember us like, Michael Jackson's family, when he left them a huge mess and a lot of debt? Or is it going to be one that's going to be passed on in an orderly fashion?
As many celebrity estate planning blunders as we hear about, John, and we know that the average Americans have made just as many of those. And you can't buy auto insurance after you just got into an accident. You can't call up your insurance agent after the tree comes crashing through your roof and say, "Hey, I need to now get homeowners insurance." So this is the kind of thing, John, you said it's really never too late, but the sooner the better. When we're young and healthy is the best time, but now would be the second best time.
That's right. You need to get it as soon as you can. But if you haven't gotten it, and there's certainly you should take advantage of it if you can. It's like dental insurance. I can't need a filling and get dental insurance to pay for it. I have to have it while I'm still healthy and before I need it. And life insurance is the same way. I'm not going to wreck my car and then go down and try to get car insurance.
Yeah. Well, legacy planning is about more than just money. It's about protection and dignity and purpose. And September being Life Insurance Awareness Month, it's a good reminder for all of us to back up, reassess, reevaluate, and review our plan for legacy. Not everybody's goal to leave behind a great deal of wealth, but I think it's all of our goals to pass something positive on, whether it's values or value. We want to make sure that we are not leaving a burden on our family or a mess behind. So let's back up. Let's look at that legacy. And a great opportunity to do that is with the Financially Focused Retirement Planning Review Strategy Session and getting your written financially focused income plan in place. It is one big offer that we always make on the program, that if you would like to get that plan put together, pick up the phone and give a call to GulfCoast Financial Services. They are more than happy to speak with you and set up a time to do that. 386-755-9018 is the number to call. 386-755-9018. You can also visit online. More information available, gulfcoastfinancial.net, gulfcoastfinancial.net. Specifically, if you'd like to learn how to retire, how to generate income, minimize taxes, or create that positive, impactful legacy as best as you can with the tools that we have available, pick up the phone, give a call, consider those options, and review all of your documents, your beneficiaries, your investments and accounts, and make sure that they are all aligned with your wishes and goals. John, I know that's a process that many people throughout North Central Florida, in Gainesville, Lake City, all surrounding areas have benefited from, but so many more would benefit from making that call and speaking with you about these issues.
That's right, Peter. And, we'll take a look at everything and do tax planning with the new tax laws for 2025, which are, were already in effect. And we can show you how that's going to affect your taxes this year. So it's a great time to get that done right now before it, you can't plan for tax season in 25 in January 26. You got to do it now. So get on in here and let's get that planned out.
Well, again, if you'd like to be proactive, stay financially focused, and get your written retirement plan put together, pick up the phone, give John Kuykendall and the team, the family from GulfCoast Financial Services a call, 386-755-9018. John, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Peter. Great to be here. See you next week.
Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more financial focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovacs Securities Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through GulfCoast Financial Services Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. GulfCoast Financial Services Inc. is not affiliated with Kovacs Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions. GulfCoast Financial Services Inc. has been named as Best of the Best since 2015 in the category of Best Financial Advisor in the Lake City, Florida area. The award was based on receiving the most votes in this category from a survey offered and tabulated by the Lake City Reporter. No direct or indirect compensation was provided to the Lake City Reporter and/or any raters, and the award is not contingent on future direct or indirect compensation offered to the newspaper and/or raters. Portfolio performance is not a criterion, and voting is open to any readers of the newspaper.